Oh hello, fancy seeing you here. Welcome back to Hardcore, where in the last episode we started to tear down our neighbouring village and turn it into a little trading town. And at the end of the last episode I needed to start rolling some trades and I made, oh hi Jelly, a pretty bold prediction. Shouldn't take too long to get the good ones, right? Well, turns out I'm a complete donut and that was a load of rubbish. I've since broken 540 lecterns. As you can see, I did get a little bit carried away and we now have a whole bunch of librarians ready to be locked away for a lifetime of misery at my expense. But that does mean that I now have all the trades I need to beef up all this gear that I've got. With the number one important trade, this guy with mending. So you know what that means. Well, it means trading for some books with our favourite villager, wasting a whole bunch of levels at an anvil, and smashing up some guardians to repair our stuff. Much better. 400 and something days without mending is just not acceptable. I even had to revert back to an iron shovel. Everything is back up to scratch. The only thing that's now not 100% is the bow, and that's because I use infinity on my bow, not mending. I'm not a monster. And back over at our villager area, whilst they do look like they're having a lovely time down here, I suppose they can't live in here forever. Which leads us on to the plan for today's episode, and it's a big one, because I want to get all these guys moved up here into their own lovely little houses. And that's going to need a bit of planning. I think first we need a bit of a blank slate, so we're going to have to tear down all these OG villager houses. Cue insanely fast clip of smashing up some buildings. Well, now that's done, I'm very pleased to get like 6 seconds of content out of something that took me like an hour. But you can now kind of realise how big this place is. Oh, and I also forgot about the Fletchers from way back when. And there's also a bunch of other villagers over there which I'd forgotten about. So we better get a shift on and sort some houses out for them to live quite quick. So I think we need to plan a bit of a layout, which means we need to make some sheep cold and steal some of their wool. I'm so confused. How did you get in here? He's an honorary cow sheep. Bunches of wool acquired. Now to plan out a layout. I guess this is the point at which we say trust the process, because it's looking kind of weird at the moment, but this gives you a bit of a vibe if you hop into free cam and go up high. So yeah, lots of different size buildings, different shapes, and these are just kind of rough outlines because we're going to have like towers and all sorts of other stuff for some of the builds. This bit of the dirt is really weird and thin and looks proper odd, so we're going to have to terraform this out a bit to make it look a bit better, and I guess we'll see where we end up. And now we'll start the process of gathering all the materials, and there's going to be quite a lot of them for this number of builds. But before we do that, if we're going to be gathering materials, I think we're going to need a bit of extra inventory space, in the form of our first ever ender chest. Time to go and gather resources. Yay! And that started with smashing up a whole bunch of sandstone. After that, we needed to go up to this butte, which meant we needed to row all the way home just to get to the nether portal inside the farm. We dealt with some helpless guardians to gather up some prismarine before stopping off in the nether on the way home to get some warped wood. After that, we mined out some stone and some granite, harvested some crops for the wheat to allow us to breed up a bunch of cows before feeling sad for killing them all just for their leather. We then finished up with chopping down a mini forest for wood. And that made it look a lot quicker than it really took, because after gathering all the resources, it was then on to the painstaking task of crafting everything. But we now have a ton of stuff crafted up, and we've got 4 double chests of stuff up here, and down here we've got another chest full of stone and other bits and bobs, and we even managed to find use for this little room in here for some smelting. So now I just need to spend ages moving it all over to the village, so rather than me showing you that, let's just skip to me building the first couple of houses, shall we? And our first 3 houses of the episode are done, and I think they're looking pretty nice. Please agree with me. So you can see the first one we've got is a little librarian's house, and inside we've got a lovely little interior, nice and simple. We've got the beds and the job blocks and a little painting wall. Across the road here we've got a house for some fletchers. So again, inside we've got a little interior with their job blocks and some beds for them to sleep in, nice and simple. And around here on the side we've got a little wood chopping area for the sticks that we can trade with these guys, who are still camped out over here. You guys behaving yourself? Yeah? Well done. And then my favourite of the 3 over here, this one is going to be for our toolsmiths to trade all the iron that we've got from our iron farm. I love this little slanted roof on this one, something I haven't really done before, but I think it came out pretty lush. And we've got a lovely little tower on the side, and you can see that we've mixed up the colours. So on these ones it's all the mangrove with the red roofs, and over here we've got the prismarine matching the roof from the villager tower across the river. Now these houses are looking lovely, of course, but obviously the houses are unoccupied at the minute, and I really think to make it look like a proper lived-in village, we need to come up with a little path design. Oops, it seems some villagers were harmed in the making of that last bit. But anyway, the villagers all moved into those 3 houses, and as you can see, we have decorated throughout. And all my days walking through here, do I love this place. It feels amazing walking through this little town, and I cannot wait to get it finished. And we've still got some work to do, as you can see. But before we carry on with getting this village sorted, I need to take a bit of a break from that. And if I take you over to this horrific chest monster over here, you'll see that we have a whole bunch of wool left over from the shapes of the buildings that we tore down. And that's given me a bit of an idea. So I think that we should do something that's a little bit in keeping with my middle name. Now, I wouldn't normally reveal something so personal, but in fact, my full name is Average Danger Snow. So what could we do with this wool? Well, we could make some beds. Now, obviously that is not filled with danger. Time for a trip to the nether. Oh yeah, that was productive, and I wasn't freaking out at all. But we managed to get 21 ancient debris, and if I'm not mistaken, 4 of these bad boys combined with a bit of gold gives us a netherite ingot. So let's pop these in the oven at a warm 180 degrees. And then we'll grab a bit of gold. 5 netherite ingots. And let me know in the comments what you think I should have put this on, but I'm going to go for the full suite of armor so we can be protected for that dragon. I totally forgot about that and it made me jump out of my skin. And the other one, I think, our lovely old silk touch pick. Oh yeah, looking good in that shiny purple clobber. And after a little sleep, heading past our 2 jellies now back over to the village. Time for a spot of building, methinks. Mammoth build sesh complete, but something bad happened. I think I forgot about the guys that I'd left out here, and they've reached their demise. But on a more positive note, we now have 5 more builds done, and they all have villagers moved in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously still a lot of work to do to join everything up with the paths and the evidence of moving them about a bit, but we'll get to that in a bit. Because there's another task on the list for today, but first, we need to sleep. This is hardcore after all. Much better. Now, tell me something. If we had a section where Snow did something from the comments, what would we call that? Oh, I know. Snow does something from the comments you can join in too. Yeah. Yes, it's Snow does something from the comments, and this week's comment comes from Gillian, who reckons that we should have a hut at the end of this bridge to protect our villagers from bad guys. And I think that's a pretty amazing idea, but I'm gonna evolve it ever so slightly. Looking good, I reckon, but obviously there's no villager here to guard the bridge. I have another plan. Oh yeah, 2 jellies protecting our village. The best bodyguards money can buy. And obviously it wouldn't be a Snow Does Something without a little thank you to the person whose idea it was. Thanks, Gillian. So should we finish that village off once and for all? Apparently building a whole village takes a long time, but it's done and ooh, it looks amazing. Shall we have a little look round? Now heading round the corner here, you can see we've decorated throughout, and over here we've got a little flower pen with some bees to manually just grab some honeycomb and to keep the atmosphere in the village buzzing. We got a little berry field over here, and I should also say that we've also got interiors done on all of these buildings, and the villagers are making themselves feel very much at home. Although annoyingly, some of them have attached to beds in different houses because, well, they're numpties. Over here we've got a lovely little wheat field, and swinging round the corner just around here you can see the final build that we made in that last little clip, a lovely little farmhouse with big fields out the front for all of our crops. Oh, and a special guest. And over here you can see we've got a load of little trees bordering the edge of the village with some little custom trees over here. And thank goodness for acacia trees, which look lush without me having to build a bunch of custom trees. He's not impressed with my lack of custom trees. And if I free cam quickly, you can see the size of this project. It has taken an absolute age for me to do it. It's taken a really long time, but I am so happy with it. I think it looks amazing. Let me know what you reckon in the comments. Now, if we have a village that looks as good as this, I think the time has finally come to do one more thing. And that is to finally remove this horrifically disgusting cobblestone bridge. But I think that's enough for today's episode. I'm going to do a bit of trading with these guys and generally just walk around this area because I love it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.